Lieutenant Colonel Damon Friedman is a former Marine and a decorated combat veteran in the United States Air Force. Damon understands firsthand the brutal effects of war and post-traumatic stress. He served 4 combat deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan in support of the global war on terror, earning 3 Bronze Stars, 1 with Valor, as well as the Combat Action Medal.
And all of our guys and gals who've seen combat, they're looking for a solution, and they're looking for hope, and they're looking for purpose.
Now he's the executive producer for the film Surrender, which follows the lives of combat warriors, their silent struggles, and the answers they found on the way to personal healing.
Well, Damon is here with us, and thank you for being with us, and thanks for your service.
Well, thank you very much. Honored to be here.
Well, let's talk about your story first. You were in combat, and you made a deal with God. Tell us about that.
Yeah, just going in, it was back in 2010, going into the Korengal Valley with General McChrystal, big mission, into a place called the Valley of Death. Mm-hmm. And it was just a huge firefight. It was one of the places where a lot of Americans had been killed. And it was a big mission to make sure that we conducted the nation's bidding and able to kind of bring back our guys from that place. And it was just an overwhelming enemy, lots of Taliban fighters out there.
Is that why it was named the Valley of Death?
Yes, because it's actually, it's taken a lot of great American lives. Yeah.
What happened? What was your bargain?
My bargain was basically knowing that just the dire situation that I was in, and understanding that there were not enough bullets and bombs to take out all the bad guys. I got to a position where I knew that there's no way that we could get out of there, all of my guys to come out all in one piece. And it was just to this point where I felt really overwhelmed and knew that the only way to get out of there was through some type of divine providence. And it was a time that I had a conversation with God. He captured my attention, and he just said, listen, Damon, I made you for a purpose. All the things that you've ever dealt with, all the experience, the skills that you have, the training, the deployments, I made you for a purpose. And it's not just to be a special ops warfighter for the nation, but to be a kingdom warrior for me. And that was a time where I said, Lord, if you get me and all my men out of here alive, I will know it'll be by your hand and your hand alone, and I will worship you the rest of my days. And that was the beginning of an incredible journey.
What happened? You get out?
No, I stayed in. But there was a lot of issues that I had to deal with. The Lord really revealed a lot of the things a lot of sin that was in my life. And what he started doing was piecing me back together. And I had this big issue. I said, God, I got this black heart. I've got this tainted mind. I've got a failed marriage. I made a lot of really bad decisions. And I don't know how to get out of this. And he said this to me. He said, if you will just give me all of your heart, all of your mind, all of your soul, and do it with all your strength, I will renew you. So he didn't just fix up my heart or fix up my mind. He gave me a new heart. He gave me a new mind. And there was a radical transformation in my life. And from that point, that was the very beginning of maybe I'm called to bring the message of hope and purpose to my own people.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that message of hope, because I think a lot of Americans aren't aware of what happens to somebody when they're subject to prolonged combat. That you will automatically suffer. I mean, it will have an impact on you. We've got names for it: post-traumatic stress disorder. And I actually don't like that name, because it's not really a disorder. It's an injury that's happened because somebody's been exposed to prolonged violence. What happened with you on this?
Well, I will tell you that every warrior that goes to combat processes combat differently. They process the war differently, right? It affects people differently. And I will tell you that a lot of people don't know this, but since 2001, over 2.5 million men and women have deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, and that's more than the entire Vietnam War. And we've been at war for 15 years, so now we're just starting to see the implications of combat, the scars of war that our men and women are bringing back home. And at the end of the day, this post-traumatic stress, we experience this traumatic experience, catastrophic experience, and then we come back and we're just different people. People go, what's wrong with me? Let me tell you what's wrong. You just saw some really bad stuff. You saw dead people. You did the nation's bidding, and it comes at a cost. But at the end of the day, the question becomes this, and I like what you said about you don't like the PTSD. A lot of us have post-traumatic stress, and the normal stresses of everyday life become exacerbated because of this condition. But a lot of times our warriors don't realize it's not the fact that you have it, it's a fact on how you respond. You know what I mean?
Is that why we're seeing such high suicide rates? I mean,
Yes.
to hear it's every 65 minutes,
Yes.
one of our veterans is taking their life.
These veterans are taking their lives because they come to a point where they have absolutely no hope. No hope at all. And so that's my mission. My mission is to say, let me tell you something. If you're out there and you're struggling with post-traumatic stress, if you've come to this point where, hey, I don't have a reason to live, or there's nothing good in life to live for, I'm here to tell you this, that there is hope. A lot of people don't know who Jesus is, who's the commander of the universe, who's the greatest warrior that ever lived. And when they have an encounter with Jesus, it's completely different than they could have possibly imagined. You see, the Jesus that a lot of people that don't really know who he is don't really understand the power, just the power to change and transform them that God has. But when you introduce them to who Jesus really is, it's a game changer. And that's really what I'm in the business of doing.
Okay, is that the core behind your program now?
Yes, absolutely. So that's why we did this film. We wanted to be able to be shared all across the nation, to get in the hands of all the chaplains, all the veterans, all of these, if you know somebody who's a veteran, basically to have the opportunity to watch it, because these are 6 operators of the most elite warriors that this nation has, and they're sharing their experience of signing on the bottom line, going, conducting combat, coming back, dealing with the scars of war, and then how Jesus, the commander of the universe, changes each person's life radically. And so this is a message of hope. When people watch this, it is made Hollywood quality, and it is very dynamic, and it's extremely explosive.
What can a veteran do who's going through it? And, I'm hearing a lot of stories. This is the military area, and I'm hearing a lot of, I just got back in from combat, and now I'm supposed to play with my daughters in the living room. And there's just this disconnect where I can't leave the tension of it. It's invading my dreams, it's invading my thoughts, and I just can't get back to life as normal. What would you tell them?
I would say that that's natural. That's absolutely natural. And a lot of guys that get discouraged over it. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you, man. Fact is, again, you saw some really ugly stuff. And depending on how close you are to the fight, you might see even more ugly stuff. But you need to find some time to rest and recover. You need some time to reconcile some of the things that you're struggling with. Because every one of us is called to do something great in this world for the kingdom. It's a matter of whether or not we answer that call. And so I would tell that person let me tell you something, that God didn't just allow these things to happen by accident. He called you for a purpose. And what you're really looking for, and this is the majority of America, they're looking for hope, they're looking for peace. And that individual is struggling when he's playing with his daughter. Trust me, I've got a son and I got a daughter, and I know exactly what it's like to try to play with my son, but knowing I got problems. Well, my biggest problem is that I don't have somebody taking care of me, fixing me up, strengthening me, encouraging me. Jesus, the commander of the universe. And it would be the very beginning of, let's start a journey, and let me introduce you to the greatest warrior that ever lived.
How important is it just to have that conversation with somebody that knows what it's like?
I think it's extremely important. Absolutely. And let's just also consider something. Man is made of mind, body, and soul. We're all about trying to address the psychological issues. We're all here trying to address the physical issues. But what about the spiritual component? And that is the missing entity. That's why we developed the Surrender Project that helps out our warriors and put them on a path of wellness. We address it holistically, psychologically, physically, and spiritually. The fact is that no one, and I don't care who you are or what genetic makeup you're made of, if you don't have God in your life, you're missing a critical component in finding peace.
Amen. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
If you know somebody who is struggling with post-traumatic stress, please don't call it a disorder. It's a normal human response to what they've been through. And let's just leave it at post-traumatic stress. Yes. If you know somebody that's got that, here's a DVD for you. It's called Surrender. If you'd like to find out how to get a copy, all you have to do is visit our website, cbn.com.